Hello. So we are on Sparta. This is what we finished with yesterday or whenever. So this should be the last thing that you have in your notes. And then we will move to a couple of our specific poleis. We're only going to look at Sparta and Athens because even though they have kind of like I don't know, like a sibling relationship where they fight like every other second. Here we go. But in the exact same breath, they protect each other too. It's weird. They're opposites, but they're not. They're our case study. Okie dokie. So if we're looking at, I'm sorry, I'm pointing at the map. I got to remember this is not a document camera, it's a video. Okay. If we're looking at Greece, you have Troy up here, remember? You have Knossos down here, remember? A big volcano in here, yeah? Thera, I'm going to try and remember that. Thera. Here is Sparta, and here's Athens. Okay? Sparta, Athens. Okay. Sparta is our military city-state. Athens is our educated, intellectual, philosophical city-state. Okie dokie? Man, I didn't like really fix my hair today, and I'm struggling. Wish I could just get up and look good like y'all do. But I can't. It doesn't work that way when you're 42, guys. So, Sparta, military city-state. Okay, every year I hear the same thing. The movie 300? Okay, wait. Miss, did you know that story is true? Yeah. Okay, the Greeks are storytellers. They tell stories, and they tell exaggerated stories, and stories with like myth mixed in and all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah? I'm struggling with my hair, you guys. I think I hate it so much because I need to dye it. I think that's the issue. I'm just not going to look at myself anymore. I'm just going to look at you. I won't look at me over there, just you. So, the Greeks tell stories and they elaborate. Okay? Again, they mix myth in with the truth. What they did with the movie 300, and I love it, I'm not dissing it, okay? But what they did with the movie 300 is they made the movie the way a Greek would have told that story. So you see like the giant monsters, and you see the Persians looking the way they look, and you see King Xerxes with like, ugh, he didn't look like that. It's very exaggerated. They did a great job of showing how the Greeks would have told an exaggerated story with myth in there too. It is a true story. Ish. We'll talk about it. Just don't think it's historically accurate. Okay? Okay. That being said, it is true that boys, little boys, were sent off to the Agoge at military school. I'm sorry, at 7 years old. That is true. The city of Sparta was kind of like situated on a hill and then a little bit in a valley. So it's a little bit on a hill and a little bit in a valley. Okay. The military school was several miles away. There's a reason. Okay. Okay, look at these pictures. This is how Sparta is described. White marble. You see some columns. They would have gone up a little bit, up on this hill a little bit. This is the way it's described. Here's some of the ruins that you can like go tour and visit and stuff if you go to modern day Sparta. I know you can go on tours. I've known some people who have done this. I always have kids who are like, Miss, you've been to Europe multiple times and you've never been to Italy? I mean, Greece. No. Or Italy. Just Germany. That's not true, but mostly Northern Europe. But here are some of the ruins of Sparta, what's left from ancient Sparta. I don't know if I included another picture. There are multiple pictures. Okay, I didn't. Here, you're looking at the patron god of Sparta. The patron god is like who the Spartans see as being their most important god. In some cases, the patron god is who they believe founded their city. Okay? This, I'm sorry, I had to cut it off because he's naked. This is Ares, god of war. God of war. You see his helmet resembles a Spartan helmet. The nose, kids always ask, it has broken or weathered, either one over time. Ares, god of war, which again is good because Sparta is all about military. Everything is focused on the military. Absolutely. Boys are sent to military school a few miles away at about the age of 7. Okay. They don't go home until like 30, unless their dead body goes home. But what if you have a kid that doesn't want to be in the military? Then he's going to die in war because he's going to suck at fighting. They all are sent to the military. There is not an option. Like today, we would have an option. No, no, no option. Heck no. Okay. So, boys are sent to the military. 7. They stay in the military school. Oh, a few miles away. The military barracks aren't actually at Sparta. They're a couple, I don't know how far, a few miles away, for a very specific reason. The military leaders didn't want their military or their boys being distracted by ladies. Um, think about a boy who has been sent, I mean, he's 7, you guys, who's been sent to the military school and he gets beat up for the first time. Not because kids are bullying him, because the teacher says, okay, we're going to practice hand to hand combat. He's going to run to mama and be like, Mama. And mom's going to be like, why are you doing that to my kid? I know it's what happens to teachers. They don't want that. They don't want the mom to be like, oh, baby, it's okay, it's okay. They don't want the coddling to happen. They want to make the boys hard, military, all about that. Okay? So that's part of why it's kind of far away. Roughly 13, 12, 14, somewhere around there, the young man will do his like STAR test to see if he passes military school and can be part of the official military. He was sent out into the wilderness around Sparta. Okay. And a slave, a Spartan slave, had been sent out before him. 12, 13, 14 is his age. Okay. The slave, who knows how old he is. But the slave has been sent out. You, as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, have to find him. You bring back his head. What if you can't find him? Kids always ask, don't come home. You better find them. I don't know, guys. I don't know if they allowed you to like find somebody else. I don't know, but I just know the basics. They send them out. They have to find a slave, and they have to bring back the head. Once they do that, they are graduated and they are in the official military. Yeah. Okay. Sparta conquers a lot of the people groups around her. They're all Greeks. Different city states, different types of Greeks, but they're all Greeks. Sparta takes the conquered peoples that she conquers. Sparta takes the people that she conquers and sells most of them as slaves to other city states. Most of them. Greece definitely has slavery. Most places did, honestly. But it's not racial slavery. They didn't look and say, oh, you're a different race, so you're slaves. Mm-mm. It's conquered peoples. So in this case, it was quite often Greek on Greek slavery. Now, it might be Greek on something else, but quite often it was Greek on Greek slavery. If you were a conquered person, you get sold to slavery. Sorry. It's typically how it worked. Okay. As far as the fighting, your typical Spartan military dude wears this cute little dress. Boys, yeah. Um, Honestly, it's just easier to fight. You just are freer. It's easier to fight. You see here the bronze, like shin guards, bronze. They do have a little sword. I believe it was bronze still. I don't know that they were iron. I think they were all bronze, but I could be wrong. And then you see here the bronze breastplate. But the sword isn't actually the most important weapon for the Spartan. The Spartan typically would go for his spear before he would fight with his sword. Now, kids ask me all the time, but if you throw your spear, you've lost it. You throw your spear and you kill somebody and you run over and you yank the spear out and throw it again. That's what they did. But look at the shield also. These shields are huge. They're huge. And I believe they're bronze. They're supposed to protect from the neck all the way to the leg. This whole middle part here. They're huge because the Spartans have a really great way of fighting in a, here it is. Oh, in a phalanx. You will hear people say phalanx sometimes. Phalanx. Oops, sorry. The phalanx is a fighting formation, but you use your shields not as a defensive weapon necessarily. It is also an offensive weapon. Typically, when we think of a shield, we think of it being defensive, it protects. You don't typically think of using the shield as a weapon. Yeah, they do. Um, there are so many different phalanx formations. Like you can just Google phalanx formations and you're going to get a ridiculous amount because it kind of depends on who is the head king at this time. I'll get there in a minute. But where's my arrow? No arrow. No arrow. There we go. But in this picture right here, you're seeing a phalanx formation. You're like, no, it's just a bunch of guys. They'll call some command. I don't know. And everybody's shields will go in one way. If they call another command, everybody's shields moves. Everybody knows the commands based on, like, I'm sorry, what to do with their shields based on the command. And what you actually do is you don't actually put your shield in front of you. You actually hold your shield to the side so that this side of your shield covers you, while that side of your shield covers the guy next to you. Meanwhile, the guy over here, I'm covered over here by his shield. And you move all as one big unit. Sometimes shields will go up over heads. If somebody's shooting arrows, shields are going to go up to protect that way. But the shields can definitely be used offensively or defensively. Quite often, the shields will be used offensively, pushing or smacking people. Quite often. Okay. So there's so many. I mean, really, truly. All I did is Google Spartan phalanx formations. Oh, we're getting some from the movie 300. But oh, this is an Alexander the Great, I think, formation that he did. There are so many different formations that they could use. Here, they're all moving forward. Was looking for like if there's a picture where shields are up so that you can see them all. The phalanx is hard to get around. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, you don't. I thought we were seeing them. I was going to say, in some cases, you'll see them on their knees, and then you'll see the other guys with their shields up like normal. So it's right here. That's not what you're seeing here. See, some of this is Roman too. I was looking for where their shields are up, but I'm not finding any. Oh, are those Legos? I think. Ah. It's kind of like the turtle shell formation. Speaking of the turtle shell, I just like that word. Turtle. Think about that word just for a second. Turtle, turtle, turtle. It's just a funny word. The turtle shell formation is one of the more famous that the Spartans used. This, you would have some guys with their shields down, some guys with their shields normal, angled, and then above their head. And their little spear, well, they're big spears, but their spears stick through the holes. The entire shell moved as a unit. How do you fight that? You just kind of have to sit back and like wait for them to break because that whole thing moves as a unit. I think it's way cool. Looks cool to me. Anyway, I think that's, yeah. This right here is a statue of King Leonidas. If you know 300, yes, yeah, he's a real king. He's a real Spartan king. Absolutely. This is a statue. I think it's actually outside of Sparta. I think the face is creepy. That's just me. See that massive shield? Okay, there was an issue. I think I'm gonna need to go back, yeah, to my map. Well, okay. Go back to when we talked about Mesopotamia. I was hoping I was showing more of this, but I wasn't. Um, Mesopotamia, when we talked about King Darius in Sparta, I'm sorry, in Persia, he tries to come this way to take over Greece. You remember the royal road comes up this way, and he tries to take over Greece, and he ends up dead. Okay. Well, fast forward a couple of generations. Actually, I think it's just one, but Xerxes, it's not his son. Maybe it is. Well, looky there. I was thinking it was grandson, but it must be his son. I really was thinking grandson. Um, Xerxes, here's a picture of him. We have a relief. Xerxes decides he wants to avenge the death of Darius. Okay. He was killed while trying to take over the Greeks, and Xerxes is like, I can do it. I got this. Xerxes controls a government that is theocratic. The gods have given him control. In fact, he is worshipped as a god. But look at him. Again, every year, the kids that have seen 300, y'all are like, you mean the big guy? Yeah, that's not what he looked like. That's Xerxes. He would have had curly hair, not bald, a curly beard, not clean shaven. And do you see jewelry anywhere? Xerxes goes to attack Greece, okay, to take it over. Well, King Leonidas of Sparta says, I don't think so. You know what? Let me stay here. King Leonidas says, I don't think so. You're not going to control us. There's a little bit of an issue, though. The issue is their form of government in Sparta. Okay, Sparta is an oligarchy, which means more than one person. It's a group of people in control. Okay? Sparta technically is an oligarchic monarchy because they have a group of people and they have two kings. The two kings both have hereditary powers. I'm sorry, it is both hereditary rule and they both have power, except the king isn't in charge of like day to day stuff in Sparta. They're not in charge of just, Johnny didn't pay his taxes. They're in charge of the military. They're kind of like king generals, I guess you could think of it that way. And basically, half of the military belongs to King Bob, while the other half of the military belongs to King Joe or Leonidas or whatever. Okay. What happens in our situation with the Persian Wars? Xerxes attacks, and Leonidas is like, oh, heck no, you're not taking us over. The government doesn't go. I said that backwards. Both kings don't go to fight Xerxes. The other king controls half of the military. Half of the men in the military are under one king, while half of the men in the military are under the other king. Do you see how that could be a problem? Because it is in this situation. Only half of the military is going to go fight King Xerxes. Roughly 300, and it's really not. It's really like 200, I think. I don't want fight. We're in the battle. It's called Thermopylae. Nope, that's not right. It's not 300. I think it's a little bit less than that. but I'm not finding it right off the top of my. Yeah, I'm not finding it without actually like searching. And it doesn't really matter, I guess. But Leonidas takes his half of the military. Okay. There are some other people groups that come in to like fight with him. But the Persian military is pretty big. Spoiler alert, the Spartans die. They get killed. What happens at the Battle of Thermopylae? They all die against Xerxes. What happens with King Leonidas? He dies. So what's the big deal? The big deal is after the Spartans are killed, um, Greek Greek city states come together and they're like, "You can't kill our people," and then they kind of join together and rise up and kick out Xerxes. Xerxes later, him, Xerxes will later end up assassinated. The Spartan government is a bit of a problem, though. I mean, it is. You have two military kings who really act more like generals. But because they have like kingly powers, if one king wants to go to war, the other king doesn't have to go. You have to wonder if the whole Spartan military had been there, would things have been better for Leonidas? And you see that a lot. If you're familiar with 300, you see that a lot happening on the home front. I'm trying to remember the movie, I haven't seen it in a while. But you do see that happening a lot on the home front with his wife. That's where, or when she goes to the council of elders to get them to send the other half of the military. But it's not their call. Like, the movie's wrong. And I've had kids ask, they're like, why didn't the movie include the other king? I think it would have been confusing to people because normal people are like, two kings? How does that work? Historians are like, two kings? Well, that's stupid. So I think putting a movie out where you have two kings in the same city would have been like, what? To people. But they do also have a council of elders. Um, Elders meaning over the age of 30. Because you're in the I don't know if I told you, you're in the military until you're 30 years old or until you're dead. Okay. You can stay in the military longer than 30 years old. Of course, you can be a lifer if you choose. But at the age of 30, if you choose, you can go back home to Sparta. You can start a life. You can, get you some hot young 14-year-old and she's your wife. Yeah. Yeah. And you could also, if you were ex-military, you could be in the council of elders. They don't they don't have a lot of power. I mean, they make some laws and stuff, but they don't have like again, in the movie when she goes to talk to the council, they wouldn't have had the power to send the whole military. The other king would decide that. That's his decision. But regardless, whatever. So their government's a little bit weird. It's a little bit confusing, and it doesn't run real smooth. Um, but I mean, it works for a while. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Athens. Bye bye.